Americans rely on Social Security and Medicare, and both systems work well until they don't. If there's ever a hiccup with either one of them, things can get stressful very quickly. Let me give an example of that. I'm at our annual family gathering, and some relatives approach me. And these are the relatives everybody knows has their act together. They dot all their I's, they cross all their T's, they're well off, and they approach me and they say, "Hey, we know you're a financial advisor. We've just retired. Would you mind taking a look at our finances?" Now, they must have seen my eyes light up because they said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, not the investments. Those are locked up. We have a good advisor. We just want you to make sure we have our affairs in order." And I said, "Well, I'm an investment advisor, so typically I help people with their investments. But your family, you know what? I've got friends in the industry, Social Security experts. I've got legal experts. I've got all these people I can tap into, and I'll do some research. Yes, I'll help you with make sure your family affairs are in order." And that's what I did. Tapped into my expert friends, did some research, and I actually found there were 7 things that they had not done, or if they'd done them wrong. And if we hadn't taken care of these things, they would have been in a situation where it would have cost them a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of hassle. And we took care of these things virtually at no cost. And I was pretty proud of myself because they were so grateful that I'd done that for them. And I went to my wife with my chest puffed out. I thought she was going to pat me on the back for helping the relatives, but instead she had a question for me. She asked, "Well, that's great, but have we done these things?" And I thought, holy cow, my well-to-do relatives that are known for having their act together didn't have these 7 things done or done right. I've been in the industry for 35 years, and no, I hadn't done these things for my own family or done them right. And I started wondering, I wonder how many of my clients have. So I started to walk through these documents with my clients, and I found out, guess how many of them had done these 7 things or done them right? 0. So I took care of it for my clients. I started to talk to my colleagues across the country, other financial advisors, and said, "Hey, there are things that your clients are missing." And they would say, "Are you kidding me? They've got me as an advisor. I've got these things handled. They have good attorneys. They have good accountants. There's no way they could be missing these 7 things." And do you know, not only did my clients not do these things, but all my colleagues across the country validated that no, their clients had not done these 7 things either or done them right. But before they would get to that point, and maybe you're at this point right now, you're asking, well, like what? Like what kind of things are you talking about? What are these 7 things? Well, let me give you just one example. Did you know that Social Security kills thousands of people a year? Now, they don't actually kill them, but they kill them on paper. Somebody makes a mistake and they transpose a digit on a Social Security number or a birthday, or they get an address wrong or a spelling wrong, and you're still among the living, but as far as Social Security is concerned, you're dead. And this has been validated with many different magazine articles, newspaper articles across the country that this happens. And in fact, the New England Journal of Medicine says this happens to thousands of people a year. And you might be thinking, okay, but why does that matter? How would that affect me? Well, let's just walk an example of what happened to a gentleman. He was a retired professor and he was going to go bowling with his friends on a Saturday afternoon. And he went to the ATM machine and put in his code, and the ATM machine told him that your account's closed. Now, what do you think happened to him? Well, Social Security had killed him accidentally, and of course they didn't notify him because they thought he was dead. So when Social Security contacted his bank and said, "Listen, we're sending $2,500 a month to him. He's been dead for 2 months," or so Social Security thought. "You need to send those 2 payments of $2,500 back, or $5,000 back to Social Security." And when Social Security tells the bank to send the money back, guess what the bank does? They send it back. And then the bank's thinking, well, if he's dead, we better do what to his account? We better freeze his account until we hear from the courts what we should do with this account so there's no fraudulent activity. So that's why his account was frozen. And as I was on a Saturday afternoon, so he couldn't even call the bank to find out what went on. So what do you think is happening to his blood pressure at this point? Yeah, it's going up. So he goes across to the street to the pharmacy and says, "Listen, I need my high blood pressure medicine refilled." Now, is there a government agency that's connected to Social Security that deals with health care? Yeah, Medicare. So if Social Security killed him, guess who else killed him? Medicare did. So the pharmacist looks and says, well, our systems say that you're dead. And this professor, Jim, said, I'm not dead. You see me right here. And they said, I know, but if the system says that you're dead, to prevent fraud when it comes to medicine and pharmaceuticals, we can't give you this until you get it straightened out. Well, now Jim has a stroke and he's incapacitated. Now, do your bills go up or go down when you're incapacitated? They go up. So he and his wife now are seeing bills go up. And who's not helping pay for the bills? Medicare. And what has happened to their income since they're no longer receiving Jim's check? It's gone down. So at the very time they need more income, they have less. The very time they need more help with the medical bills, they have less. So she calls up the Social Security Department and says, what are you people doing? What are you doing with my husband's Social Security, with my husband's Medicare? Now, have you ever called the cell phone company or the cable company and your name was not on the bill? Will they talk to you? No, they won't. So guess what Social Security tells Jim's wife? We can't talk to you. Now, this almost gave her a stroke. But after she hung up, she realized, you know what? We've been good stewards of our money. We've been good stewards of our financial affairs. We went to an attorney last year, and I have a power of attorney. So she goes downstairs, grabs the power of attorney, walks down or to her car, drives to the Social Security office, and plops down the power of attorney onto the desk of the Social Security Administration clerk and says, now talk to me. And the clerk says, honey, I still can't talk to you. And the wife says, why? This is a perfectly legal power of attorney. And the Social Security clerk says, here's why. And she pulls out a Social Security document and she turns to page 5 and she says, listen, here, read right here. Family members often use a power of attorney as another way to handle a family member's finances. For Social Security purposes, a power of attorney is not an acceptable way to manage a person's monthly benefits. So that means that they would or would not honor the power of attorney. They wouldn't. So now what kind of a pickle is Jim's wife in? What's she going to do? Sue the Social Security Administration? How's that going to go? And it ends up all she needed to do was to have a simple free form filled out ahead of time before Jim became incapacitated. So these are forms you should have filled out before things happen so that somebody can take care of your Medicare and your Social Security needs. And if you're a veteran, your veteran benefits as well. They did not have this done. So that set them up for all sorts of problems. And here's what happened. Jim found out over the next few weeks that his bank accounts were frozen, that his Medicare and Medicare supplement was canceled. His doctor's appointments were canceled, causing a month-long delay in more appointments. And here's the crowning blow. It gets worse. Because Social Security thought he was dead, they put his name on what's called the Social Security Death Master File. That sounds ominous, doesn't it? Well, on this file, when Social Security thinks you're dead, they're going to put his name, Social Security number, his birthday, and his supposed death date. He's still alive, but because they think he's dead, they put his death date too. And then they release that to the public. Do you see here where it says U.S. Department of Commerce? Entities and people, the public, can now buy that information. And that file, like it says right here, that file includes Social Security number, name, date of birth, date of death. So Jim's still alive, but this information is floating around out there to the public. And what does that set him up for? Identity theft. Now, they did finally get this stuff taken care of, but it took months to fix his Social Security and Medicare. And he still has to watch for identity theft constantly because that information was out there. So that's just one of the 7 things that we found weren't being taken care of by people, especially people who are retired. Let me give you a quick other example of another thing we found out was that when people are married, they get 2 checks from Social Security. If, God forbid, one passes away and eventually one of our spouses is going to pass away, what happens to the Social Security check? It disappears. So what happens to their income? It's cut in half. So guess how many people we found were applying for the plan that would replace their spouse's Social Security check when they died? None of them. And folks, do these things matter? Yes, they do. And are they things you can control? Yes, if you do it beforehand. So all we need to do is turn on the news right now, and we're seeing being bombarded with all sorts of things that matter. But can we control many of those things? No, we cannot. But we can control having the proper paperwork to make sure we can handle our spouse's Social Security and Medicare or veterans benefits. We can make sure that we've applied for a plan that will replace their income. We can control the things that these 7 documents would do for you. So what should we focus on in these times of trouble? Things that matter, things we can control, or the crossover right here. And those 7 things are things we can control. So, as I mentioned earlier, I do work with a limited number of colleagues across the country, other financial advisors who are qualified and trained to help with these documents. I urge you to contact the advisor that sent you this video via email or phone. Contact them via their email or their phone so they can assist you with these documents at no cost during this time of need. See, when ordinary people pull together, extraordinary things happen. So we're doing this because you know what? We've heard on the news that that restaurants who are being closed and small business people who are being hurt financially with this coronavirus, they're still tightening their belts and doing good for the community. They're taking their last food and they're giving it out to the community for free. They're serving lunches to school children who aren't getting them at school. We've heard of communities pulling together and providing daycare as a community for first responders and for the medical people. They're all pitching in. We're all pitching in. We have people that are shopping for people that have that are susceptible to disease, older folks, or people that already have pre-existing conditions. People are pitching in and helping everybody. As financial advisors, we're not cooks. We don't own restaurants or grocery stores. We're not qualified for daycare, but we can help people with their finances. So during this time of need, we're offering these 7 documents at no cost to anybody that wants them. And you don't have to meet the advisor. All these advisors, if you've got this video, it was probably sent by an advisor in your local area. So these advisors that are in your neighborhood that can actually help you, but you don't have to go meet them in their office. They'll actually be able to help you online, give you the documents, help you fill them out, answer any questions you may have, tell you what institution you need to send them to make sure you're getting these uh, documents in place to handle the things that you need to handle now. By doing that, it's going to protect your family, it's going to protect your spouse, it's going to protect society because you'll have these things taken care of. You'll be ahead of the game, you'll be proactive. So contact the advisor who's qualified and trained to do this, whoever sent you this video, so that they can help you. Again, online, you can, after things settle down, you can always visit them in the office to get any other questions answered, but they'll help you right now online, get these things filled out, answer questions, sent to those institutions. So please, please, please allow us to help right now. Call the advisor, email the advisor, get these 7 things done at no cost to benefit you, your family, your spouse, and to society because you won't need additional help. Thanks for listening today. Take care and stay safe out there.